Hello, my beautiful and lovely gamers. My name is Jonal. We're close to New Year's. I'm not sure when I'm releasing this because I'm kind of pre-making it before I'm traveling to visit my family for Christmas and the holidays. But we're very soon done with 2019 and rolling into 2020. So let's talk about I Miss Old Overwatch. It's something that I hear from time to time when people are talking about, how Overwatch is dead, how it was dead before, and I want to kind of talk a little bit about it because I hear so many arguments, and I've been in Discord call with some YouTubers that made like Overwatch is dying, Overwatch is dead, and I've been like, yo, what do you mean? And I've step by step talked with their points, and normally it ends up with um essentially some of the stuff that is said I feel is pretty bullshit and kind of sounds like very in early stages of when Overwatch was new, every YouTuber would say the word game sense or consistency, and every user would just say that without even knowing what it meant. It was just kind of buzzword they put in there. So let's talk about that. Number one, the game was better before. That's like the premise that they missed the old Overwatch. One thing that they say now is that ultimates are too reliable. Like every fight is just decided by an ultimate, and that kind of sucks, and it's just boring and so on. And what I don't understand is that some people that say that they play from season 1, but in season 1 every ultimate built faster than what it does now. There was an ultimate nerf across the board. I think there's been two. There was one not too long ago, and there was one way back in season 2. I've covered that on Nico's channel when I talked about how Genji has been played during the different seasons. On top of that, individual heroes has also gotten nerfed to ultimate. Does people remember the old Nano Boost? How you could build Nano Boost and like you would essentially go in King's Row, your team would rotate around statue, stay on the statue, take poke, rush with the Rhine, nano the Rhine, he would get speed boosted. Ultimates has been nerfed. Ultimate charge has been nerfed. So in what world are we relying more on ultimates now than what we did before? They build so much slower, and so many of them, such as Genji's Dragon Blade, which used to be like an instant win. Like it was an 8-second nano boost would give you speed. You could also get Lucio speed boost on top of this, right? It was like insane. You could just roll over people. Now it's 6 seconds. Nano boost builds way slower. Also, a lot of other support are there now. There's immortality. There's a way to counter this. I don't feel that is an equal representation of ultimates anymore, and I can understand the frustration, but what I think has happened is that people had just played the game getting way better than what they did before, and now we use the ultimates way better, and the plays that was made in early season of Overwatch with ultimates are nothing compared to what you see some people like, especially look at Dragon Blades, early Dragon Blades, which is like some Dragon Blades that are basic for some of the best players in the game right now. That's the first one. Second one is that they don't like the meta. And that is actually one of the things that you can kind of talk about that, okay, whatever. Like, that is one of the things that is very individual. For example, but when I look back at how it was played, I personally like Deathball. I think Deathball is one of the more fun thing. It's also because it makes DPS players far more fluent. So, like, Ryan Saria is, for me, very fun thing to play in. Dive, on the other hand, I remember when Dive was the king. Like, you played Dive or you didn't play the game. Like, Deathball was just trash. Orisa was there, but Bunker, like, which I called poke comp at the time, was pretty bad. Just because of the state of Orisa, her shield wasn't curved in the beginning, and so there's a bunch of stuff that didn't do her very good. And she came, she came in after Goats, right? That's when she started becoming meta. Dive back in the game, there were so many people that quit because of Dive. I remember this. There were so many people that hated Dive because it was like, it was just this shitfest. On Rank Ladder, nobody knew how to play coordinated Dive. So, like, it was just like Winston sleeping at walls and D.Va, like Genji's teabagging and Tracers, trying to mimic, the Fran or Craggy or something like that, right? It was a lot of that on the Rank Ladder. And in scrims, while Dive was coordinated, it was like really difficult to set up. But a lot of like, especially I remember support players, we had a really good Hucky, which is like an amazing support player. When he played, it was like, because Dive was so devastating, and everybody had to play as Sen, because Sen was pretty busted at the time, the Zenyatta was just like, as fucked every single competitor. Like, every single round, the Zenyatta was just focused by every team. Like, the Winston and the Tracer and so on, and it took really the power of a support player out of their hands. And it was like a lot on the tanks to try to dive and create space, and then it was like so much pressure on the DPS. DPS had like majority of the saying about if a team would do good or not. If you didn't have good DPSs, then it didn't matter anymore. And I remember that again. It's objectively what meta you like best. I personally did like Dive because it's a Genji meta. It's a meta that I could just play one of my favorite heroes in. I also really like Death Ball, like normal 2-2-2 Orion, sorry, Death Ball, but that's also very nostalgic for me. But I know that so many people didn't like Dive, and I don't understand why everybody all of a sudden look back at Dive as like the best team composition, because I remember that everybody fucking trash talked that team composition down to shit every single time it came up in a conversation. The last one is new heroes are dumb, and that's like the summary. That some heroes really take out that kind of takes out playability. I think that Seagull had the most famous example of this. You know, the good old Kree, like Kree could flash over the Ryan shield, and then the Ryan got outplayed. But the Ryan could also then quickly, if he could predict that, he could lift the shield up and block the flashbang. But then the Kree could predict that again and flash low ground. So if he could fake high, then the Ryan would lift the shield, then you would flash under the shield, right? And then, okay, that's outplayability. Heroes like Doomfist and Sombra take away outplayability. Now, Doomfist, of course, has had a nerf. He was really fucking busted. But again, a Doomfist, like, he flies in and he just fucks you up. And if you don't get peeled, then you die. That was essentially the argument. The same with a Sombra. If a Sombra just comes in and EMPs the Zen, or EMPs somebody, if the support doesn't get help, he just die. And there's nothing really, like, there's no outplayability there. Like, this Zenyatta can't stop a Tracer unless he, like, outskills him, like, beyond a repair where it's not, like, feasible anymore. Like, meta-wise, if you get 1v1 SN versus a Tracer and you're at the same skill level, you will lose 99% of the time as a Zenyatta. And that is like the thing that with Sombra and with Doomfist, that was the issue. But as I said, the same thing was before. Tracers could do the exact same thing. Again, you know, a Doomfist dives to Sen, the Sen dies if it doesn't get peeled. As a Tracer dives to Sen, the Sen dies if it doesn't get peeled. Like, there's not real, like, yes, he can outplay him by, like, insane aim, and if the Tracer fucks up, but that's the same with the Doomfist. With insane aim, and if the Doomfist fucks up, you can win. Same goes if a Sombra comes and makes herself visible, then the Zenyatta can struggle doing that. Right? And it's the same thing. The same with Widowmakers. If you get peeked by a Widow, you better hide as a support, or you get tapped, and you die. There's not much you can do about that. And it's always been like that. So, again, I understand that the design of the heroes can be frustrating, especially Sombra, which, like, takes away abilities and so on. That's really frustrating. It's like she does it by right click, it's lock on and so on. I can very much understand that. I can very much understand the frustration with Moira and Brig, where Brig was overpowered and could stun through shields and could just run down DPSs with no care in the world. Moira was OP as fuck. It's still really strong, really, with lock on, heal that deals stupid amount of damage, and like you need to like aimbot headshot her all the time, or else she will win trades very easily against you. I can understand the frustration with that, and Doomfist as well, especially pre-patch Doomfist, where you could just like fly in and just like combo you and you would die very, very fast, and it didn't feel like you could do a lot outside of hoping that you got peeled for or trying to position yourself, and it felt like you felt so powerless or like at such a disadvantage fighting Doomfist players. And the same goes for Sombra with EMP and hacks, that it feels like you're just getting outplayed by nothing. I completely agree with some of those statements, but I think that is something that goes for a lot of Overwatch. That again, like Doomfist, well, I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna argue with people about who is the most, you know, high and intense skill hero, but Doomfist requires skills, especially in high heals when you get better and better, in the same way that Tracer requires more and more skill, and Genji requires more and more skill, and you see Hansers require more and more skill. Fighting a Hanzo is not fun either, if you play anybody, because Hanzo's also pretty fucking broken, but Hanzo's been broken for a very long time, right? And I think that there's just so many of these heroes, like season 1 McCree, or even before season 1, when he could like fan the hammer spam and kill a Roadhog, right? Like there was all these like OP shit back in the days that was super busted, and for some reason, these stuff or these things are now kind of being brought up, but on newer heroes. And I don't feel like some of those arguments, and again, everything is individual and so on, and I would like to hear what you think down below, but I don't feel that all of those things are viable. Ultimates have been nerfed across the board, and we have been moving away from ultimate metas for a very long time, like compared to what it was. Like ultimates are way weaker and charts way slower. You can talk about what's the best meta, but I think that people are looking back at metas with rose-tinted glasses. And I know a lot of people that generally loved GOATs and playing in GOATs. I know people that generally did so. And I know a lot of them that generally like GOATs. I know people that like the current meta. I like the current meta that win. I think there's a lot of stuff that's being played right now, and I find that super exciting. I think that And the new hero designs, while yes, I agree that some of them are kind of dumb, like pre-patch Brig, and Doomfist was kind of busted for a long period of time, and so on. And Moira is still kind of like a salty, well, like a sour taste in my mouth. I still think that the way that the hero designs are going are still fine, and some of this bullshit has been here for a long time. In my personal opinion, someone like pre-patch May when she could Blizzard in one team fight. Like that kind of stuff. Hanzo Scatter Arrow, stuff like that. I think there's a lot of these stuff that, or Hog, 1.0 when he could hook you around corners. I think that there's a lot of busted stuff that have been happening in Overwatch, and we tend to just look at what's overpowered right now. And we need to understand that, again, stuff will be changed. And yes, talking about it is very important, that we talk about what's fucking bullshit and what's not bullshit. But I don't think that the hero designs in Overwatch are that bad. I genuinely don't think so. And I think that that we had some edits that have been really, really shitty. But I don't think that these heroes bring something to the table that we haven't seen before, in sense of being overpowered or requiring no skill to be dominant, to be really dominating with it, or being a really cheesy hero that can just do a lot and it's real difficult to counter and really just brute forces himself into the meta. I think that we've seen that before in really early seasons, and I think that when most people look back, that we're looking back with rose-tinted glasses, nothing wrong with that. But I think that that's something that should be talked about, and that's what I'm hearing. I know I'm gonna get disliked the fuck out of from this video, because there's a lot of people that doesn't like me, like people saying that, and defending Doomfist or defending Sombra players or Moira players or Briggs or hero designs, or people doesn't like that I say that a lot of people hated Dive, but a lot of people did hate Dive. And that's just the impression that I've always had around that time. I loved it, but I know a lot of people that hated it. And I think that it's so easy to hate on what's right now and look back at stuff with positivity. Again, like on the video really helps out, especially since I'm going to get disliked the fuck out of for making this video. But I thought that's important to kind of try and look at stuff a little bit realistic, from my point of view at least, as we move into 2020 and we are ready to kind of talk about when we're moving on to 2020, that we try to look at this game again, not over positively, but at least try to notice that, okay, the past is the past. It wasn't as good as we might want to believe it. Look at it with without the rose-tinted glasses, and try to catch 2020 and make this game awesome, like it's always been. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna head off now. Thank you guys for watching. Please take care of yourself. Happy holidays. As always, guys, it's been Jonal, and you guys keep the enemy in your crosshairs.